We are recording, so whenever you're ready, bro.
Is Luke Hemsworth the brother of all the other Hemsworth?
Yes.
Yeah, I can look at his face. Yeah, he is.
Mama Hemsworth has got to be like, yes, all the money.
Right.
So.
Although I do feel bad for him because he's kind of normal, like both his brother, and he looks like he's older too.
Well, you know what though, Chris Hemsworth, if you take all the creatine away, like he's a kind of a smaller guy. Like he just got bulked up for Thor.
He's got to be over. The Luke is 5'10", and Chris has got to be over 5'10", and Liam seems like he's taller than all of them. Yeah, Liam's 6'3".
Yeah,
that's that bullshit. That's that bullshit. Welcome to a special episode of Black Astronaut / Rune / review
Rune Reviews.
Yeah, Rune Reviews, weekly update, spoiler cast, etc. for the new HBO show Westworld, which if you haven't watched it yet, be prepared. It's probably going to be your next major obsession. I read something today that's saying it's going to try to do to sci-fi what Game of Thrones was able to do for fantasy, which we'll talk about later. But let me kind of break down exactly how and why we're here, and why it's just Feek, Blurman, and Aaron.
So it's kind of going to what we can finally talk about. Thank God.
Right. So y'all have heard if you heard the show today, you heard me at least being real excited about something. We still can't give you everything. But what we can say is that we were lucky enough to, I guess, be chosen.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Right. Chosen to do a little work with HBO. And we're going to be involved in an event with the show, with the channel, leading Melvin, a real actual Black astronaut. I don't know if that's like just kismet. Like, how does that happen?
It makes no, because so. And side note, and I do want to talk about this for just 2 seconds. They didn't say we're going to talk about this, so I asked them. I was like, "Hey, y'all know we not Black astronauts, right?"
Right.
And it was just funny to hear, like, "Of course not, you dummy." That was basically their response. So, but yeah, it is. I don't know what you can call it. That we've been so excited to finally talk about this for a month out. We've been talking about this. So,
so I can't get into many details on the event. I'll just say that me and Aaron have had some special things going on with us involving this.
The event is going to be this Friday. The special event, the panel, moderated by Mr. Melvin. So, yeah, man, like, again, just flabbergasted. Wouldn't have been able to do it without y'all support. They vet us. So, they listen to the shows and stuff like that. And y'all spreading the word helps us out tremendously. So, yeah. Well, also, by the way, we still accept the donations because we still broke. Don't get it twisted.
Right. It's like how do we get here? I feel like we skipped some steps. But, so if you listen to today, the show that came out today, you heard me talking about being excited about some new shit that's going to have my head big. This is where it starts.
Yeah. And Feek is on the panel. I am not on the panel due to my injury, but it's cool.
Yeah. But I'm not going to let it get to my head. Me hosting right now is just a matter of the creative process. It's not because I demanded a contract redesign from Aaron B to host more. Not at all. Anyway, so I guess let's get to the show and give you some of the backstory. So Westwood is a sci-fi mystery.
First of all,
Westworld. Yeah. I need to stop saying Westwood.
Yeah, I was about to say let's not start off with the Westwood because I did the same thing earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, Westwood the show, Westwood the school that I used to teach at.
My street was Westwood when I was younger. So
right
there you go.
Westworld is a sci-fi drama mystery Western, obviously, just thing that HBO took from an old movie from the same name from back in like the 70s. I've never seen the movie. I had never heard of it until this show came out. I'm interested in kind of going back just to see what can be found there. And the premise is, it's starring just like the cast is like what? Like I don't know if the Game of Thrones people were all really big stars in the UK before they came to Game of Thrones, but the people on this show are like, I don't know how they got all of these folks. So we got Evan Rachel Wood, Thandie Newton, who I'm sure more people know, Jeffrey White, who's one of the best like unsung character actors in all of media because he can play pretty much any character. If you don't know who that is, he was Martin Luther King and he was the Puerto Rican gangster from Shaft. Also,
he was in, what is it? You know what I'm talking about.
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. He was in Hunger Games. He's been
James Bond.
He's been in more movies than you can imagine.
Yeah, he's just an amazing character actor.
Amazing actor.
James Marsden, who you've also seen 100 times, he's the like really good looking white guy. He was Cyclops. He plays almost the same good looking white guy character in half of his movies, but here he's showing a little more range, which is cool. Some other people who I'm not as familiar with: Ingrid Bolso-Berdal, Luke Hemsworth, who you may have heard us throwing a little shade at the beginning, because I wasn't aware of him, but I'm happy he's getting it in. His character is quite interesting. Sitsi Babette Knudsen.
Yeah, I had trouble getting that one out too.
Right. Simon Quarterman, Rodrigo Santana, Angela Serafian, Shannon Woodward, and then two of the really big ones, Ed Harris, who was made to play the character he's playing here.
Absolutely.
And Sir Anthony Hopkins, who you know more as Hannibal Lecter and a whole bunch of other amazing things he's in. Ed Harris, I can't think of one particular thing to pull out for him. He played John McCain in the Sarah Palin movie. He was in A History of Violence. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He usually plays almost the exact character he's playing now, except he's a lot scarier in this.
He's a face. Like if you see his face, you're like, oh, that dude.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
One of those guys.
Exactly. All right, so and directed by multiple people because it is a show, so it's not going to have the same director all the way through. So basically, from what we know from first episode, it's set in some alternate history future. Or maybe present. It's hard to really say. They haven't given us too much indication yet.
That's the first thing I wanted to say. It don't really seem like it's that far in the future.
Right.
Am I tripping, or does it seem like it's fairly close?
You're not tripping. It's got a dystopian tint to it.
Right.
Like you get the feeling that everything's fucked outside of Westworld.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or outside of their corporation.
I'm really curious to see if they go outside the world because we'll talk about it later, but they said some things in the episode. I was like, oh, there's some class stuff going on here.
Mm-hmm. So in this nebulous alternate history future, there's this thing called Westworld, which is basically a massive theme park based on the Wild West where people can come in and interact directly with an ongoing Western story. According to the characters in the actual show, there's like 200 different stories going on at one time that can be altered in a variety of ways. You can fuck whoever you want to fuck. You can kill whoever you want to kill. There are no consequences. You can't get hurt. Although I'm sure just the tone of it, I know that's only a matter of time. And it's obviously only for the richest of the rich. To be able to afford something like that because it's a huge undertaking to make it happen. Go ahead.
And not to interrupt, I know you're doing the intro of it, but I don't know if it's really for just the richest of the rich. Like I don't know how rich you have to be there because it was families there. You know,
I would just say that I would imagine. So here's why I think it's the richest of the rich. they were purposefully diverse, but in certain ways. Like there was one black family,
right?
So that does, if you want to be cynical, maybe the black family makes it so it's not all rich, but it was almost all white people, and then Asian, like I think they were Korean, I would guess. And I just imagine that it's like kind of a tourist thing that's definitely reserved. And the way that people acted in it kind of gave off the idea that it's something for the privileged. Now, it's probably not the privileged like they were in freaking Hunger Games, where like everybody's just a rich asshole, completely detached from life in the world. But there's definitely some class stuff somewhere in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you initially see, are we done with the synopsis, or we're kind of going into, or do you want to break it down a little more?
I guess we can kind of just, because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
It really just makes sense to kind of do a quick summary of the episode,
right,
and then go from there. Okay. So I guess why don't you start us off?
So in the very beginning, you meet the main character.
Really? Who's the main character? Oh, the girl. The girl. Okay.
Yeah, I assume because of what happens at the end of the episode that she's the main character.
Right.
So first off, if you've never listened to a spoiler cast, there will be spoilers. We've done spoiler shows before and still gotten emails, so like to just make that clear. This will contain spoilers. So when you first meet her, it just throws you straight in. It doesn't give you any context. Put it this way, if you were watching this show for the first time and had no idea what it was, your head will be flipped out 15 minutes into the show. What did you think about that cold opening straight into the Westworld?
I fucking loved it.
Yes.
This is a show made for niggas like me and you. So the first thing, just to kind of give you an idea, if you want to stop here before we really get into spoilers and go watch, imagine if Gen Irabushi, if you know that name, you already kind of know what I'm about to say, or like some other really surrealist, cryptic anime director or writer, because the type of story we're getting here seems like it should only happen in an anime, and not like, Naruto or something like one of the animes that you have to really be in an anime to catch, like Madoka Magica, Psycho-Pass, Serial Experiments Lane, Evangelion. It's clearly going to be incredibly heady.
Yeah, especially Psycho-Pass.
Right.
Psycho-Pass.
Especially Psycho-Pass. Yeah, definitely. So it feels it's going to be definitely very character driven. In fact, the action scenes, to me, if I had one thing I didn't like, it's like, why are we bothering with action scenes? Like,
right.
I want to know why, especially because it's all with Ed Harris's character. But I'll come back to that. But like, so it's so like you won't feel it immediately, but once it starts going, you're gonna be like, fuck, I need this to be on Netflix so I can watch every episode now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I have pined over this episode because I've been just waiting to get what's next, and the way it ends makes you want to see what's next, even if you hated the entire episode. Yeah.
And I don't know how you could if you fuck with this type of story,
right, in
any way, you're so within the first, I don't know, 20 minutes. When did they bring us back to reality?
It was about 15 minutes in when they first showed all of the android bodies, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Go ahead. Oh. You were breaking up.
And then like the 3D printing.
Yeah. This might be one of the most beautiful intros to a show since Game of Thrones.
Right, and I'm pretty sure the version we saw isn't even finished.
Yeah.
Like they haven't added in all the graphics and shit.
Right. The one, because, well, we can't really get into that, but yeah, I'm sure that all the graphics weren't in there when we saw it. So,
right. So the idea is that they're making these people, the robots, who, I mean, are they officially robots though?
I want to say they're more androids,
right?
Because they do have, for the most part, free thinking. They can think on the fly, things like that. So,
right.
They're not.
They have scripts.
Yeah, there's some type of intelligence there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would call it AI though, because they can be controlled, or so we think.
Right. But yeah, they make them all through 3D printing. It's a really cool makeup effect in that, like, when they're out in the world, they look completely real, but they add like this extra gloss and veneer when they come back to the real world. And you can tell that they're not real, but they look so lifelike. For a second, I didn't understand if this was all in a mind, like if this is something you were doing in your mind, or if that was like a real bodies. And then I realized later on that no, they really are in a full Western landscape and world, and everybody's life size, et cetera, et cetera.
So let's get.
We haven't explained the story at all.
At all. This, like I said, this show can go an hour. Easy. Right. Because we're 22 minutes in. Just to let you know. Right. So, Fink, you do a better job with synopsis. Kind of go into the story and what we've seen so far.
Sweet. We meet Evan Rachel Wood's character. I think her name was Dolores.
Dolores. Yeah.
And there's like this voiceover narrative. And it's kind of like hinting at the craziness of the world, because we also hear Jeremy Wright's voice in the background asking her questions. And none of it makes sense. But we're watching her go through her day in the West. And she meets a guy that she used to like, and they have like a thing together. James Marsden is that guy. There's all these like really classic Western tropes kind of being developed in the background. If you're really paying attention, it's a very rich scene.
Right.
We go through the motions of this whole day, and then at the end of the day, the girl, Evan Rachel Wood's character, Dolores, her father, who we also met very briefly, is shot and killed by bandits, who are then shot and killed by James Marsden.
Who is playing Teddy.
Who's playing Teddy, thank you.
Yeah.
And so then, so that seems like it should just be kind of this dramatic, but like happy you saved me scene. And then right after that, Ed Wood pops up. And here's the thing. She recognized him. Did you peep that?
You know what? Yes. Well, you know what? I don't know if it was that she recognized him, but she knew something was wrong. I can't necessarily.
Right. And then they give us, I feel like they give us a hint to that later with the one prostitute who's like rubbing her lip. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll come to that in a second. That's kind of probably very important. That's probably going to be the key, like, breadcrumb they left for us in episode 1. That's going to be part of the big ongoing whatever throughout the whole story. Anyway, long story short, Ed Harris comes, shoots the fuck out of James. No, he doesn't even shoot him. He just kind of fucks with him, fucks with her. James Marsden tries to shoot him, and it becomes clear that Ed Harris can't be killed. And Ed Harris says some shit like, I've been coming here 30 years, and you don't recognize me, and I've been doing this for so long, and da-da-da-da-da.
So
go ahead.
Just a side note, did it throw you off by how long he said he had been coming?
Yeah, it did.
Because he's an older guy. He's probably playing somebody in his mid-50s, early 60s, at the most. So that means he started coming when he was 20. And that's me overestimating his age. He might be playing somebody that's just straight 50.
Right.
So that's just, it threw me off by how long he said he had.
But, and later on, Anthony Hopkins' character, who seems like the originator of everything, indicates that it's been about 30 years as well.
Right. So he's basically been coming since the very beginning.
Right. Anyway, long story short, Ed Harris takes her into the shed, and we get a implied rape scene.
And it's...
it's done like, I don't know. So just trigger warning.
Yes.
I probably should have said that before.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do a rape scene well per se, because it is rape, but you can do it in a way that maximizes the dramatic necessity for it without also making it seem ridiculous and like cheap.
It's an easy way to make somebody a villain,
right? But it doesn't need to come off like lazy,
right?
Like, oh, we gotta hate this guy. He should rape somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how most people use it. Again, no right way necessarily to use it. Like, for example, I remember I've always argued with people about the Tyler Perry remake of For Color Girls.
For Color Girls, yeah.
And how like the rape scene there was just so over the top and ridiculous with like the orchestra in the background and whatever. It was just kind of just abusive to the viewer. whether you are triggered or not. Whereas this was just more sinister villainy. I don't know, but let's not dwell too much on that. That's going into an area I feel like it's better. Other people are better equipped to talk about.
Right.
Either way, we finally jump to reality and realize that everything we've seen, we don't even know if it's real. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
At this point, everything we've seen is, for the most part, a part of a script.
Right.
So we're still not assuming this is a part of the script. We don't know anything about the behind the scenes portion of Westworld. So we're just seeing this man rape this woman and kill all these people. And it's just like, what the hell is going on?
Right. And then he's just talking to her and she's answering the same questions in the same way she did at the beginning voiceover. But of course, now we don't know what happened first. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the story kind of just very slowly, we introduced to different characters. The Hemsworth guy is a writer. Jeffrey Wright is a lead scientist guy. Anthony Hopkins is like the president. There's another woman who I don't know her character or actress's name, who seems to be like the CEO. Go ahead.
Very important, though. Anthony Hopkins is not just the president.
Yeah, he's not. You're right.
He's the inventor of everything. He's basically the guy. What's the guy from Jurassic World? The
Asian guy.
Yeah, he also created the androids,
right?
Or is it implied that he had something to do with it in the very beginning? So he's been.
It seems like a lot of people don't fuck with him too tough.
You're right,
because he's kind of getting old and kooky, and he's got some dark shit somewhere. You can kind of tell.
Right.
Anthony Hopkins is an amazing actor, and it's like as soon as he hits the screen. I think somebody did drop a hint, but as soon as he hits the screen, you can tell like there's I don't know if he knows what's going on. So we can really summarize the rest of the show by saying they are updating the androids, quote unquote.
Right.
Because they do that that would happen with any theme park. And they do that to tweak their personality, tweak stories, whatever. And in this update, shit is going a little left. We see this like amazingly done extended scene with the one, I don't know if he was the adventurer or the like sheriff or whatever, when he starts like ticking and his eyes are blinking and he's snorting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if that was real. Like, I don't know if that guy really has that type of facial control or if that was done with special effects, but it was like disturbing.
Yeah. The thing is, it was so disturbing because at this point we still didn't know what was going on. I think the best part of this episode was them holding on to that for as long as they did.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It wasn't until really the end that they finally lifted the veil completely.
Right. So since we did the synopsis already, let's go character by character. That's important. Kind of talk about where you think where they are right now in the very beginning.
So no, I think the core question is who's behind whatever's about to fuck up. Right?
Yes.
That's going to be the mystery of this season is. So long story short, I don't know if we fully spelled this out. There's glitches in this update and shit is like slowly about to really be fucked up. You can just tell that shit is about to go left. So we have Anthony Hopkins' character, who is the creator, who clearly has this dark past. Somebody mentioned something about him having demons. But we don't know much. We meet him. He's like talking to an old robot, which is another like special effect makeup marvel.
That was amazing.
That was ill.
But I think that was a person. I really want to say that was a person, dog.
Yeah, I think it was a person too, but
goodness.
It's just so good. But it's just so fucking good.
The problem is we can't tell.
Right.
Which is the whole premise of the show.
It should be called Uncanny Valley, the show.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It should be that. Because the Uncanny Valley seems like it might be getting reached real soon anyway.
Right.
So when we meet Anthony Hopkins' character, Dr. Ford, that's when I think.
By the way, that name is not on accident.
No, absolutely
As
not.
Henry Ford, the creator of Ford Motor Companies. Henry Ford was also one of the primary figures in Brave New World, which is another dystopian work. I don't know how it works yet, but I know that's not by accident. Right now, my money's on him as being the the villain at the reveal at the end or something, but I just don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So sitting in here, and they were going down there, and I believe the first time they were going down there, they went to the decommission room. And seeing the decommission room was an eye-opening experience in this show so far. Because what they do in the decommission room is basically stand all the robots up or androids and say, okay, you're no longer needed for service. Go. But they're still lifelike. They're still human. So when you walk into this room, it's just bodies and bodies of bodies of this
standing in a
row of wet humanoid looking.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. Some of the visuals that you see in this show are so disturbing, but so welcome because it's not something that we've seen with a major budget in quite a while. So we meet Dr. Ford, and the first generation android or second generation, and he's sitting there having a conversation with them. And the first thought that came to my head was, how many times does he do that? You know, like, is this a once-off occurrence, or is this happen all the time? Is he starting to lose it already? And what did you think about that scene?
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's prime suspect. But it's also, narratively speaking, would be good to throw him out there early to throw you off the scent, whoever the real person is. It's hard to really tell. We're only one episode in, but clearly there's something in this world for him that is not what it was. Like what he created and what it is don't seem like they're the same thing. He seems really like that he lost something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And
so
and it definitely seems like he's trying to find something, like not necessarily in a, like you said, I understand you said lost, but I just think he's not necessarily that he lost anything, but he's just trying to search out for something new, because some of the quotes he said during the show make you think that it's not necessarily that he lost something. But
So he also ended the show, I forgot, with the fucking illest moment of the episode was him talking to Dolores' father, and like he's like Dolores' father, they kind of, it's hard to explain, but like it seems like the robots, androids, play different roles over time depending on what the story requires.
Yes.
And so they took the father. The father eventually glitches. So several people glitch. I think like 3 people glitch.
Yes, 3 people.
Right. And the father glitches, and it's like pretty clear that there's some serious shit going on. And in the discussion with the father, he gets to this one particular level of a character he had played in the past that sounds like fucking the devil. Like he said, I will bring multitudinous injuries upon you, or something like that. Then you find out it's Shakespeare. Oh my God, the layers of shit. They play alternative rock music.
God dang it, Fig.
Remade by Western.
I knew you would pick that up. You the only one in the world that would pick that up besides me. Right. I rewound that twice. I was like,
but it was like 2 or 3 of them. I don't recognize all of them, but I knew the first time I was like, huh. And then I heard Black Hole Sun.
Yes. Black Hole Sun was the one I was like, wait a minute. So I rewound it again. I was like, oh, so this is what we're doing. We're doing one of those shows. Where this could go anywhere.
Right. But then Black Hole Sun, if you remember the video from Black Hole Sun, it fucking looks like this. Like these motherfuckers are really fucking with us here. These motherfuckers are good.
Like, put it this way, when me and Feek saw the episode, the first thing I did was text him like, nigga, dude, this is made for you. This is made for us. That's why nobody else can be on this show. Ruin our
we can't be interrupted for questions. We got to just nerd out for a second.
Right. So let's talk about Dolores for a second, because there are layers to Dolores as well. In the very beginning, you see that Dolores, who is the first person you meet, or first android you meet, she seems nice, studious, courteous, everything you would want out of a good country girl, right?
Right.
But then after that implied rape scene, the next day it just goes all back to normal. And that's when you first get your first sign of something's not right here.
Yeah.
So when you have the implied race scene and then she sees the same character the next day, it's like he's searching for them specifically. Is it me or is that
Yeah,
like
so clearly, Ed Harris's character is probably the next really major person we got to figure out because he's on to something.
He's not evil, by the way. He can't be evil because it's too easy for him to be that easy.
It is too easy because he's technically not doing anything wrong, right? He's only killing and maiming the androids.
The androids. And he's been doing it for so long, he's probably just like, and you see it throughout the episode where, and I hate to say
when he shot James Marsden, he was like, ugh.
Teddy. Like, he's like Teddy again, because he knows their names.
Right.
Which means if he's been coming for 30 years and these robots or these androids do different roles, he's probably seen these androids in 2 or 3, maybe 4 different roles.
Right.
You know, so
it's clear he's taking a liking to Dolores,
right.
The female character we've been talking about. And it seems like he's done something to her on multiple occasions. Oh, so this brings us to another tidbit. So it seems like as part of the update, Sir Anthony Hopkins' character added something where they're allowed to draw upon their memory just a smidgen to give them some level of depth that they, I guess, didn't have. And that's definitely not like that's going to play out in some form. In fact, I think that's what we're seeing. What we're going to end up seeing is like these androids. I feel like we're going to get some type of robot uprising situation.
Well, the not president, I think she's over like security.
Oh yeah, she did say that the game was like deeper. Yeah.
Well, she also said that remember they were talking, and then did she say something about it not having an incident in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
And now we're due.
Right.
So she kind of knows something is wrong. Like, she's the other side to that force, the non-creative, let's get these crazy killer robots who we train to fake kill people
right
out of here. Because that's what is so weird about Westworld is once you go to Westworld, the premise is, and there's so many overarching layers to this. The premise is either you're a good, you can go in as a good person, or you can come in and fuck shit up.
Yeah, and there's no problems.
No problems.
No consequences.
Which again is going to have some more. We could go on forever about the things that are probably going to happen just off this one episode. But let's get into another character because I want to cover some of the main characters. Bernard, Jeffrey Wright. What do you think about him?
No clue.
I have no idea either. I'm really lost.
He may be also corrupt, or maybe also behind what's going on. Him and Anthony Hopkins are kind of clicked up, and then like other people are clicked up. It's with him and Anthony Hopkins or the boss lady are my picks for like the true villain. We're definitely not feeling Ed Harris because Ed Harris is like violent and it seems crazy, even though within the context of the world, he's not doing anything wrong. But one of them is hiding something deep.
This is my thing about Ed Harris, dog. And you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this. I'm not 100% sure Ed Harris is human. Like,
that's possible.
I mean, if you think, because ever since I saw his character, the very first time I saw his character, because I've watched the show like 4 times. Every time I've seen his character, it doesn't feel right, you know?
Right.
Like something about everything he's doing is like almost, and I mean, again, one episode, so this is purely speculation, but it seems like he's doing this for a purpose. It's not like and it makes me think that he was there. He's been coming since the park began, right?
Mm-hmm. He's looking for something.
And he gives the way he's killing these androids is brutal in a way that you just don't see on cable. Like not even Game of Thrones is this brutal off the rip.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
although we did get the kid thrown out the window in the first episode, but overall, the blood
they didn't
like,
show it.
Yeah, there's a gunfight at the end where I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, like where they were just rolling out more and more and more guns.
Right,
and everybody.
I forgot about that part where they had like a gun burrito, and they unrolled that motherfucker,
and it had 4 shotguns,
right, 2 rifles, 6 pistols.
Yeah. So Bernard, we don't know anything about him yet. Teddy, I think Teddy is going to be the one that turns. Like, we're going to see his gradual shift.
Is Teddy the first one that turns?
Teddy,
I think that's too easy. It's too easy to have the white, good-looking guy be the Jon Snow of this show. I feel like this show is going to be. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
because I don't know who's doing anything good or who's doing anything bad. Like, I don't even feel bad when Ed Wood kills people because Ed Harris kills people because A, they're not real people yet, and B, I don't know if I'm okay with what's even happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm okay with Westworld.
Yeah, like, so that's another. We'll touch that at the end because that's a whole nother set of questions. Because I don't know how I feel about everything that's going on in Westworld. But let's finish up these characters. So we got Luke Hemsworth's character, the head of the security team. What do you think about him? Do you think he's going to be the smart, I told you so security guard?
No, he's the creative. I think he just enjoys what he's doing in a weird, like, not in a like the true like innocent happy-go-lucky, but he's passionate about his stories. So his character is kind of the lead writer for the world.
I was pretty sure that was the head of security. That's not.
No. Head of security.
Luke
oh no, you might be right. Yeah, that was Yeah, him. I don't know. He didn't have a whole lot of time
because Simon Quarterman is the director of artistic director.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it. You're right.
So I don't know, man. I think it's more to his character as well. It's a reason that he's placed there. And I think that he's going to be one of the smarter characters on the show.
We end up rooting for him in the end when shit goes left, or will we end up, or is he going to be the one? Or at the same time, it could be his gung ho arrogance. That's also a very common character trope. That him being on some old George Bush preemptive strike shit might be the one to accidentally really fuck shit up in the end
and start the whole thing off.
Right. If there's a thing, there may not be a thing because we don't even know what the outside world looks like. Westworld could be a simulation within a simulation. And we wouldn't fucking know right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Excuse me. No, that's yes, that's very true. I don't know if we'll see the outside world this year.
It might happen at like the end.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll see at the end of this year because we're one episode in and we already have questions.
Listen to all these questions.
Like, and not in I just having these questions because I want to have something to talk about on the show. Like, no, these are fucking questions I got and I need answered because with this show, they don't hold your hand at all. They don't give you. They assume that you know sci-fi tropes, and if you don't, you're gonna learn them.
That's real.
So let's talk about Teresa Cullen, operations leader. She's the one that's involved with the main part. So basically, that's the person you call the president. She's an operations leader. How do you feel about her overall as a character?
Again, not sure. She likes the power. Right. We got that much. She also knows some real shit that not only does the audience not know, but it seems like most of the other characters in the show don't know as well. You know what I'm saying? There's some real shit that only she knows. Like, I don't think anybody else knows except for maybe Jeffrey Wright. And I'm not sure he knows as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. She seems like the double agent type.
Yeah.
Like she might be working for another company that's for a different part of Westworld. You know, like, who knows? I liked her character. We didn't get a ton of it. The scenes we did get, we're okay. They
pretty standard. I'm the woman in charge scenes.
Right. The whole cast has incredible chemistry. So
yeah, there's no. Yeah, but you're right about the sci-fi tropes. This whole first episode is one part we're setting up all these tropes so that you can understand, where we are, and then here's a bunch of shit you have no clue about. Figure that shit out, niggas. Let's get them fan theories going, motherfucker. And again, we'll touch on a little more. But it's also a fucking Western. It's a Western as well. Yeah. Like it holds true to some of the Western core tenets when you look at a Western. So I forgot. And the Western tropes are strong.
Right.
Like, and I don't fuck with Westerns. I think I've liked maybe 2 or 3. Quick of the Dead. Some 2 or 3 other ones. I can't remember none but Quick and the Dead. And I'm pretty sure like most people that like Westerns probably think that's some trash. I don't know. I liked it.
Also, let's talk about Thandie Newton for a minute. I can't. Her name is escaping me.
Maeve Millay.
Who is a madam of Westworld. So she's the boss of
she runs the brothel.
Yeah. And her character is complicated. The reason being is I never really want to see a person of color in that
playing a prostitute.
But the way she holds the character makes me think it's more.
Yeah, to me, she's the most important of the androids.
Yes.
Like her and Dolores. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's very they characterized her and picked Thandie Newton, who's an amazing actress and probably the 3rd most recognizable face.
Yes.
Out of all, like, it probably goes Anthony Hopkins, Ed Harris, her. So they picked her to play this role because this role was something significant. And I don't know yet what's going on, but it's something. It's something, It's hard to say.
So we've kind of ran over all of the characters that the main characters. There are a couple other characters that get sprinkled in. So I want to ask you, Feek, about your favorite part of the episode. What was your favorite part?
That's tough. There were a lot of really good parts.
I'll give you mine because whatever. It's the gun battle at the end.
Just that over the top.
Because it showed me this show can be whatever it wants.
True.
What if they every week they do something like that where he changes the scripting up? Because that's what happened. They had to decommission some of the
200. Yeah, I think it was 200 citizens or whatever they called them.
And with that happening, they changed the script, and the amount of it was the dopest set piece of the night. Would you say?
Right. Yeah, I would.
So that's mine. The amount of combat, along with some of the tropes like him moving Thandie Newton's character out of the way from the safe when it was falling down. Like,
yeah, that was dope. Then her just shooting the guy in the face and like being like, huh?
And they showed it. Ooh.
They just showed his face exploded.
Whoa.
Like,
whoa! I didn't know if I was ready for that one.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for the gore.
Yeah,
well done, like realistic gore, which I personally think is worse than over the top. I'd much rather have over the top gore
where your head like explodes completely. Yeah, cool.
Than just like, no, we're gonna show this bullet travel through this man's front skull.
Yeah.
If my favorite part is probably again the end with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the actor that plays the father is.
He's a hell of an actor, dog.
But yeah, like he's switching between different inflections. He's doing this weird tick as it seems like he accesses this computer program personality. And then when he finally gets to the end where he's this, I think he said he was a cult leader.
Yeah,
it was the end figure. Leader. It was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. The things he said, the way he looked, his face, it was fucking terrifying.
And it was even more terrifying is everybody around them was
also like, what the fuck?
Well, no, some of them were just used to it. Like, see, that's the thing.
Yeah, right.
That's the most terrifying part of everything. People are just, it's like Jurassic, I keep going to Jurassic World, but remember when the kids were like bored with the dinosaurs.
Right.
It's like that, where these people are just bored with seeing realistic humanoid androids. They're bored. That's terrifying. There might be a Westworld in the world right now. We just don't know. You know, that's that type of stuff. You know, but I do want to get to the very end, Feet. The very last scene. Let's talk about that for a second.
Hold up. Help me out. What's the very last scene?
When they interrogate Dolores.
Oh, and the fly hits her.
Yeah.
So yeah, this fly.
So let's back up.
Yeah.
Dolores has some issues. She's going through some stuff. And they bring her in and they sit her down. And they go through her memory and they interrogate her. And the last question they ask, or one of the last questions, if I'm not mistaken, is, have you ever thought about killing something? Or have you ever hurt anything? Is that the question?
I don't remember. It's something along those lines, though.
Right. So they
would you ever hurt anyone?
Would you ever hurt anyone? Yes. So they asked that question, and she says no. But then what catches me off guard, and it makes sense for what happens at the end, she says, of course not. That doesn't seem... That seems...
And then she smashes this fly.
Right.
So this fly, I don't know if... did she smash the fly? She smashed the fly, right?
She smacked it on her face.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she killed it.
So, and you've seen this fly, if you've seen any of the promotional material, this fly on her eye. And there was a moment earlier in the, oh shit, I didn't even catch all that. Nigga, you just blew my fucking mind. You're right. Because, all right, so let's backtrack. The fly, we first see him, he lands on the guy's face early, like the one of the first guys to malfunction that I said it was like a grotesque. I think they even use that word. Like he just does these ticks and his eyes are blinking and he's coughing and burping and shit. And it doesn't happen to him until the fly hits his face. And it's kind of clear that is, if it's not the cause per se, we're definitely supposed to notice that. Right?
Right.
Then the fly hits the father when he starts fucking up. And then I feel like the fly hit one other person. And then we see the fly crawling on Dolores' face during one of her conversations. And then in this last conversation, when they ask if she'd hurt anyone, and she says no, right as she says that, she smashes and kills the fly, which is clearly I don't know what the fuck we're dealing with, son.
Yeah,
I don't know, son.
You didn't put that together?
I missed it. I mean, I watched the first episode only once, and at like, I finished it at 12 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So you know how that is when you putting babies to bed, so I caught everything else, but that I missed. I did not really catch the significance of that. That's a good call.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Like it was too emotional, man. It was too much behind that second statement. When she was like, oh yeah, well, she said no. And then she, right afterwards, when she said, of course I wouldn't. That wasn't needed. The question had already been answered. Why did you say that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
she was frustrated.
Right. And then when they go to that fly and she smashes it. And if you look at it, if I'm not mistaken, she smiles a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little smirk.
And it's just like, oh, we don't know what's going on. So yeah, man, this overall impressions of the episode. What did you think? I wouldn't give any kind of rating. We're not.
Yeah, it's just fucking amazing. Again, so here's my warning and the quick discussion about Game of Thrones versus this. Game of Thrones. First off, Game of Thrones didn't start off as Game of Thrones.
Absolutely, yes.
This is going to start off bigger than Game of Thrones started off, but I don't think it'll reach that height because it's sci-fi, and sci-fi is tough.
And this doesn't seem like it's going to hold your hand.
This doesn't really give a fuck.
Game of Thrones gave you a little bit, like, we'll slow you down a little bit before we get to the
right.
Magic.
Plus, there was all the books and the people that read the books, and so there's already a ton of lore. This just has one relatively obscure movie from the 70s, and it's weird as fuck. Like, it's just weird, and you feel weird watching it. There's a reason why anime isn't on American TV, because most anime is weird. And I'm telling you, if you want to just like the sensibilities of this show are so like a mystery anime. Like that was one of the first responses I had in my head was that this just feels like I'm watching a really cool like Monster or some other mystery anime where like I need to pay attention to everything because the one thing I miss is going to be the thing that fucks me up in the last episode, you know?
Right.
So
for me, I'll say that I'm very excited to see what happens next. This will be, you don't have to worry about us. We'll be reviewing the show, at least for the first season. I'm fairly sure it'll get a second season, just from this pilot. I think it's going to be a huge hit. But it is, like Feek said, it's going to be tough to digest. Y'all are going to have to watch this 2, maybe 3 times to really catch everything.
right.
So just keep that in mind. But we will be doing these every week. And like I said, we'll be able to still talk more. There's some more stuff going on that we can't talk about. But we did want to get this review out and kind of tell you what we've been excited about for the last, since before DragonCon? So at least a month.
Yeah, this started right before DragonCon. We've been holding our tongues.
It feels so good to finally say something.
Right.
My goodness. This your show, Feek. This not my show. So how how you
this is HBO presents Feek Blurtman.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, sir.
No, this has been Rune Reviews. Check out we definitely doing Luke Cage. God willing this week. Nigga like me, damn, I gotta go watch. What episode you on, man?
What, Luke Cage?
Yeah, you done, ain't you?
Yeah, I finished it.
I'm on episode 4.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, it's interesting. I got some strong feelings about it both ways.
Right. So we'll see. Yeah. So look out for that. We'll
still probably get another Rune out.
Another Rune out as well.
So we'll be busy. We've been working. So, thank y'all for listening.
Indeed,
man. We wouldn't have been able to, do a lot of this stuff without y'all. So check us out. So, but again, this is Feek's show. It's not my show.
Oh yeah, this is Feek's show. Peace.